What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Love and Marriage Huntsville, Season 5, Episode 14, The Cold and the Beautiful. So we start off the episode with Melody. She's at her home and she's getting a personal massage. At this particular moment, Stormy comes over and they talk about Melody and Martell and how they're getting along. And Melody tells Stormy that as far as the trip to Destin, they got along fine. It was okay. Everything was fine in Destin. It wasn't until they came back from Florida as when all the drama started. So the drama that she's referring to is the situation where Martell had told the mother of his child that Melody had exposed the children to C-19. And Melody was really upset about that because she felt like Martell was violating her personal medical information. And I guess, the mother of his child took this information and she ran with it, and Melody was really, really upset about that. So she's upset with Martell for talking about her personal medical records or medical situation. And she also tells Stormy that Martell had, I think it was how Martell had accidentally called Melody by the name of his child's mother. And Stormy asked Melody, how did she feel about that? And Melody was just like, I didn't feel anything about that. It's whatever. And then they talk about Martell's wine event, the launching of his wine, I Nest. And Melody says that she will not be attending because she's not in that space right now where she wants to be around Martell, without killing him. So she will not be attending that event. And Stormy says something like, y'all take one step forward and two steps back. And Melody said, girl, it's more like 20 steps back. Moving on from there. So Martell, he's getting ready for his wine event. He's at the venue and making sure everything is in place or in order. And Chris Fletcher, the real estate agent that they all deal with, he was there. And so was Destiny. And as soon as Destiny shows up, the first thing she asks Martell about is Sheree. And Martell doesn't really want to talk about Sheree. He wants to keep that personal or secret or whatever, even though everybody knows about it. So he really didn't want to mention anything about Sheree. And Destiny then got kind of messy. I thought she got messy when she had shown Martell, I don't know if it was an interview or a live, but it was Melody talking about how she really doesn't care about Martell's current dating situation. She doesn't really care about, who he's dating or anything like that. It's of no interest to her at all. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what prompted you, Destiny, to bring this up? Why do y'all want to, when I say y'all, I'm talking about Destiny. I'm talking about, Tisha and Marcel. Why do y'all stay trying to cause problems between Melody and Martell? They have enough problems of their own. Y'all don't need to add to it. Why do y'all want to constantly bring drama to Melody and Martell? Because she pulled out her phone and she starts playing this, whatever this was, this clip of Melody talking about Martell and how she doesn't really, give two thoughts to whatever Martell is doing. I didn't see anything wrong with what Melody was saying. She was just expressing herself. I don't see anything wrong with her saying, I don't care what he's doing or who he's doing it with or what's going on with Martell as far as his love life. What's wrong with that? And why does Destiny feel like Martell wants to hear that? So Martell gets, he gets bothered. He's a little bit bothered by that. I don't know why he's bothered, but he is bothered by it. And I'm thinking to myself, Destiny, this man is trying to plan his little event to launch his wine, which is in honor of his grandmother. And here you are bringing this silly mess because you cannot stand Melody and you want Martell to be mad at Melody. You're trying to use Martell as a weapon to attack Melody. And I just thought that was just low down and dirty. It was so unclassy. It was so immature. And I just didn't understand why she would want to do that. If you don't like Melody and Melody don't like you, Destiny, please just keep it moving. Just move on. Move on. Forget about Melody. Don't think about Melody. Don't be saving clips of Melody doing whatever, downloading her social media, doing whatever the hell you're doing, saving all this Melody footage so that you can spring it on Martell and get Martell all crazy and upset so you can go and start cussing out Melody. Just stop, Destiny. Don't you got a man? You got a kid, you got a man, you're dealing with the divorce yourself. Just worry about Destiny. Moving on. Tisha and Marcel. So they're in their house. I guess they're getting ready for Martell's wine event because Tisha's trying to figure out what to wear because she wants to coordinate with Marceau. You know what? I noticed that has become very, very trendy nowadays where couples show up and they're color coordinated. That's cute or whatever, but every time you step out of the house together, y'all got to be color coordinated. Anyways, so Marceau said that he saw, I guess, an interview that Melody had done where she was talking about Martell and Sheree. And she was saying that she was not bothered by it. She doesn't care about Martell and Sheree dating. And Tisha says, well, Melody never reveals her true feelings. And who are you to say that, Tisha? Who are you to say that? The whole entire time that we witnessed the interaction between you and Melody from season 1 until now, it's been very contentious. Y'all don't see it for one another. Y'all don't voluntarily spend time with one another. So why are you the expert on Melody's true feelings on anything? You can't give us advice on whether Melody prefers peanut butter jelly sandwiches as to cheese sandwiches. You can't give us any kind of advice on what Melody's true feelings, true desires, true hopes and dreams are. You're not in a position to do that. You can't stand her. You don't want to be around her. You wanted to see her marriage fail. You want her to fail in every aspect of her life. But all of a sudden, you know exactly what her true feelings are. And I'm not saying this because I'm a, big time Melody fan, because I'll call out Melody on her mess as well. I'm not a big time Melody fan, but it's like, who are you to know girl, do you know your husband's true feelings about anything? Do you know how he truly feels about you, about this marriage, how he truly feels about anything? Can you tell us about Marceau's true feelings? Can we talk about that? Because that'd be more of your priority than what Melody's true feelings are. So then here comes Marceau. Marceau talks about how when people say they don't care because Melody says she didn't care about who Martell was dating, that means that they really do care. And then he says something about because now he's leveled up, Melody does care about the fact that Martell is dating Sheree because Sheree is above or a step up from the mother of his child. And why is that? That's my question. Why does Marcel think that Sheree is a step up from the mother of Martell's son? Because of what? What gives her the qualifications to be better than anybody? Let's talk about Sheree. Number one, it took her about 115 years to build one house. Number two, her business took another 115 years to finally launch. And there's questions on whether or not it has actually launched because there's all kinds of stuff going around about the website. She doesn't have any product on the website. The website is down. The website is this. The website is that. She's still struggling trying to get She by Sheree off the ground. She makes horrible choices in men. And she's also, for so many years, she was shadow banned from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. It wasn't until recently that she was able to come back as a full-time cast member. So what necessarily makes Sheree a step up from the mother of his child, a step up from Melody? I don't know if he was referring to she was better than the mother of his child, or was she better than Melody herself? I don't know what he was referring to. And Martell, why do you have such hate towards Melody? Because you're always so, I'm cool, I'm level-headed, I use my common sense, I think things through, I'm a very intelligent person. So why are you so emotionally invested in what's going on with Melody and how Melody's feeling about Sheree, or how Melody's feeling about Martell, or how Melody's feeling about the mother of Martell's child? Why are you so emotionally invested in that? Is it because when you had that meeting with her at Black during your date with your wife, she shut you down and basically told you in so many ways, I don't have time for you and your nonsense? Is that why you're all of a sudden feeling some kind of way about Melody not giving a damn about who Martell is dating? So I don't understand why Tisha and Marceau feel like Melody should be bothered by the fact that Martell is dating Sheree. Melody has been dealing with Martell dating other women ever since they were married. So she's used to him being with other women. It is nothing new for him to be with other women. It's not a shock to her system that he's with other women. I don't understand why y'all felt like she should have been bothered by that. Moving on to the iNest event. So the venue was really nice. The venue was, I thought, was beautiful. It was an outside event, and you can see over the city of Huntsville. So the view was really beautiful. It was just a really nice venue. So Tiffany, we finally see Tiffany. Like, Tiffany, girl, where have you been? Are you that booked and busy with your job that you cannot record scenes? We didn't see Lewis at all in this episode, I don't think. And we did see Tiffany, and I'm like, girl, where have you been? Like, what is going on? You're a cast member. You're in the opening credits. How come we've seen you like 3 times this whole entire season? So it's Tisha, Tiffany, Stormy, and Destiny. And of course, they all talk about their favorite topic, which is Melody. Tiffany asks Destiny if her and Mel were cool now. You know, Destiny, it seems like, I don't know if I can properly explain Destiny's facial expressions whenever somebody asks her about Melody. It's like her body goes, like, her body instantly tenses up. Like, she just like, just turn, like, she just gets all, like, she's like this ball of just really tense energy whenever the name Melody is mentioned. And I don't know if she's trying to like prepare herself, but she always has like a very obvious physical reaction when someone says the name Melody. So Destiny asks her, so are you and Melody cool now? And Destiny responds with, well, we agree to disagree. Okay, cool, fine. Then Tiffany keeps on poking, and she says, well, because at Stormy's peace dinner, I can sense that there was like some tension between the two of you or something like that. And then Destiny responds with, the only thing that bothered me at Stormy's peace dinner was you. And Tiffany was like, no, it wasn't Tiffany, it was Stormy. Like, she says, well, why did Tiffany bother you? And you know how Destiny is. She never really goes into specifics, just gives you a whole bunch of generalities. So you have to come up with your own conclusions. And then when you do, she starts yelling at you for being wrong. She goes, well, you know how Tiffany is. Tiffany does what Tiffany does. And in her confessional, she says that Tiffany is vibe unaware, like she doesn't know how to read the room. And I guess because she's always asking like really inappropriate questions at inappropriate times. And yes, that's true. I do give that to Destiny. That is 100% true. Tiffany does not know how to read the room. Like when they were at that dinner, I think was it last season, her first season on the show, and they had that whole thing about Monster and Monster vaping and all of that. You know, she brings up the fact about Monster vaping in a really inappropriate time, in a very inappropriate setting. And just like when she made her first appearance and she talked about how she had seen Destiny's husband with another woman who she thought was Destiny, knowing damn well it wasn't Destiny, just saying the most inappropriate things at inappropriate times. So moving on from there, now we have the guys. So Chris Fletcher, the real estate guy, he wants to confront Marceau. He wants to confront Marceau about Marceau using him as an alibi when Marceau is up to no good. When he's out there, you know, doing his shenanigans, Chris is like, you're not gonna use me as your alibi and start having people question me and where I was and what I was doing. So let's get this straight. When I was in Atlanta, Marceau, I was in Atlanta with my wife. On January the 4th, I was in Atlanta with my wife, and that's when I met you. So I wasn't, you know, I guess he was trying to say I was not hanging out with Marceau the whole entire time I was in Atlanta. The way that Marceau made it seem like when he explained to Tisha what the hell was going on in Atlanta. Because people were telling Tisha, hey, your dude's in Atlanta and he went there to go see a chick. And so then Marceau tells Tisha, I went there. I was in Atlanta. I went there to go see a friend. Tisha's like, who's the friend? Chris. Yeah, Chris was the guy that I went to go see. And so Chris is like, no, sir, you will not be pulling me into your shenanigans. I was there with my wife and I saw you for all of 2 hours. Okay, let's get that straight. So in the confessional, they ask Marceau, well, why didn't you just tell Tisha? Well, they didn't say that specifically, but I think that's what they were referring to. Why didn't you just say up front that you were with Chris in Atlanta? Because he kept on, you know, beating around the bush, not really saying who he was with until Tisha asked him, well, who were you with in Atlanta? And this was when they were outside of Black, sitting in the car talking about this. And that's when he was like, I was with Chris. And so in the confessional, when they ask him, why didn't you just say that to begin with? And he was like, it's none of your business. I thought Marcel was cool, calm, and collected and always had a good grasp, a good grip of the situation, and can't nobody ever catch him slipping. But they caught him slipping in that damn confessional because when he responded with, it ain't nobody's business, it sounded like he was caught off guard. He really didn't know how to respond, so he just got extremely defensive. Moving on from there. Bottom line, Marcel, look, you're dishonest. You're dishonest. Nobody knows except you and whoever you were with. Nobody knows what the hell you were doing in Atlanta and who you were with in Atlanta. Okay, that's the bottom line. You're very deceptive, manipulative. The truth ain't in you, Marcel, when it comes to that. The truth is just not in you when it comes to that. Anyways, that's between you and your wife. Moving on. So we're back to the women. They're still talking about Melody. They're wondering if Melody's going to show up. And they're also wondering if Sheree's going to show up. Then we see Martell in his confessional. And Martell says that Sheree will not be attending because they did not want to take away the focus from the wine. Because if Sheree was there, everybody would be buzzing about him and Sheree instead of focusing on the wine. So then it's time for Martell to give his speech. So he kind of stumbles a little bit in the beginning of his speech, but he made sure that he read this speech because the last speech that he did, where were they? Wherever they were when he did his first launch or his first wine event, and the uncle got really mad because he didn't mention his grandmother. He was just ad-libbing with that speech. This one over here, he made sure that he read what he needed to read because he put all the pertinent information on his little cue cards. So he did mention the grandmother, and he mentioned the uncle and everybody else that needed to be mentioned. He didn't leave nobody out because he didn't want no problems. He gave us the whole full biography of his dear sweet, departed grandmother. And so he did a really good job. This speech was a whole lot better. And so then after that, Kimmy and Stormy and Destiny, they're sitting together inside. And this is when Kimmy finally tells Stormy and Destiny that she was diagnosed with cancer. And that was, of course, every time, Kimmy talks about that, it's hard to watch. It's really, really sad, but she's very, very strong. And, looks gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, healthy, all of that. And so she's talking about her cancer diagnosis, and it hit them kind of hard. Destiny was crying, Stormy was crying. Stormy got up and gave her a hug, and she talks about how much of a rock how much of a rock Maurice has been for her. And then we go outside and we see Marceau and Jalen having a conversation, and Marceau is asking Jalen, how are you holding up, dealing with your mom and all of this. And Jalen says it's hard. He says it's really, really hard to deal with this. He mentioned something about how sometimes he'll reach out to to Maurice and Kimmy, and sometimes they'll respond and sometimes they don't respond. And I didn't understand what that was all about. And he says it hurts his feelings when they don't respond. And he said that he has to put up this front, this very strong front, because if he let his true feelings take over, he says he wouldn't be able to function. He wouldn't be able to even show up for work. So he has to put up this, strong front to be able to function every day. He also talks about how he's never seen Kimmy cry. He says his whole entire life, he has never seen his mother cry until she got on this show. And I kind of felt like Jalen was double talking. Like he was trying to say two things at once. Like he was trying to make it seem like he was talking about how they're dealing with her health. But at the same time, he's trying to secretly mention other things too. I didn't understand. He said he's never seen his mother cry until she got on this show. And I'm assuming he meant, crying about her diagnosis and, having to deal with that. But I don't know why he didn't say, I haven't seen my mother cry until she was diagnosed with cancer. I don't know why he didn't say that. But he says until she got on this show, as if Kimmy has been crying about other things that has been affecting her about the show. Maybe even way before her cancer diagnosis, he had seen his mother cry because of stuff that she's been dealing with on the show. I really didn't understand that. But he could have been just talking about her diagnosis. And he says it really hurts him to see his mother cry. Growing up, he says that him and his mom have always, they never really dealt with emotions. They never really dealt about how they felt about things. They always put up a strong front. I'm like, we need to stop doing that. we need to stop putting up strong fronts. We need to let our emotions run. If we're not feeling it, we need to let it show that we're not feeling it right now. All this faking the funk and pretending everything is okay when it's not okay, that is eating us alive. And we need to stop that. So it was really beautiful, though, to see Jalen and Marceau have this very, very heart-to-heart conversation. And, Marceau was very receptive. He was, listening, paying attention, responding appropriately, gave him a hug, gave him a couple of hugs, and told him, look, I am here for you. Stop with all this, fake strength. If you need a moment, have that moment. If you need, a whole week of moments, have your week of moments. Do whatever you got to do to keep going, but don't stop faking it. Just stop faking it. If you feel sad, be sad. If you can't come to black, you can't come to black. So yeah, Marceau showed that he was being very, very supportive. So we're finally done with the wine event. Now let's get back to the foolishness that is Mel and Martell. So Martell goes over to see Melody, and I don't know what the hell he was doing at her house, but he shows up at her house, and she said this is going to be a porch conversation because you're not coming inside. So she stops him right there at the doorway. And he's like, why can't I come inside? And she's like, no, we're having this conversation outside on the porch. And he gets upset. He goes back in his car. And she's like, okay, whatever. Then he calls her from outside, from the driveway. He calls her, and he's talking about how when you come to my house, I'll let you in, and this is very disrespectful that I can't even come inside. You want me to be sitting on this porch talking to you? It's 110 degrees out here. Unbelievable. These people are hilarious. And so they're going back and forth about this whole porch thing, and not letting him come inside. And then in his confessional, he says she does this because she wants to be able to say that I'd never let Martell come inside my house. Whatever. So then finally they get a chance to get to, I guess, the root of the problem. And the root of the problem is that Melody is mad at Martell because Martell told the mother of his child that she had C19 and that she had exposed the kids to that. And she's like, I don't want you telling people my personal health information. And so Martell was like, I had to tell her because, her child was exposed to that. And so because he told her, she got online. I don't know what this woman said, but she got online and just put out Melody's business out there. And so Melody is upset with Martell. She blames Martell for his baby mama's reaction. And Martell is like, how could you blame me for how someone else reacted, for what someone else did? I told her because she had to know. Now, what she did after that is not my problem. It's not my fault. And Melody's like, yes, it is your fault. Just like, she goes way back in history now. She goes, just like it was all your fault when, you said you wasn't messing with her, but then you were still messing with her. Then you got her pregnant and you were still married to me. She goes back into history, right? She tries to, this was an excuse for her to bring up some stuff from the past, which shows me that Melody is not over the past. She does try to put up a front in a way of like, she don't care about, what happened to her in the past. She don't give a damn about Martell and Sheree. She don't care about that. She does feel some type of way about how Martell had hurt her in the past. That's what bothers Melody, not this new stuff. It's that old stuff, the history. That's what still bothers her. So, yeah, she was like, okay, this is why I'm mad at you. And so she went through her, and he's still like defending himself, saying, look, it's not my fault. Don't blame me. It's not my fault. They keep going back and forth. Lord have mercy. My opinion is this. He had to tell her. Okay, he had to tell her. This stuff is still going around in the world. Okay, the C19, it is still out there. It is still going around. People are still getting it. People are still getting sick. So he had to tell her. Her using that information to blast Melody online was wrong, but it's not Martell's fault. It's not like, she has some other type of illness and he was talking about that with her. That would have been different. Okay, if she had something that was not contagious and then he was just telling her just to gossip behind her back and then she blasts that information online, that would be cause for a lawsuit. But the C19, he had to tell her, okay, it's very contagious and it's not good for children. It's very risky for children. So I don't know. Melody, this is not, you were wrong. You were wrong for blaming Martell. If you had a problem with this woman and what she did, you should have addressed her directly then, because she was talking about you. So you had every reason, you were completely justified in addressing her directly. Whether you wanted to do it online or in person or whatever, you had every reason to address her directly. You don't have to go through Martell to get to her or whatever you were trying to do. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me in this review. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, do not forget to rate the video if you like this content. Go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.